One of the things that I often ask people during my work, once I know what it is that they want, once I know what it would look like if, their aims for therapy had been met. Once I know that, I'll often ask them, let's say you went to bed tonight and a miracle happened. And when you wake up tomorrow morning, everything that you want, all your best hopes that you would like to come from therapy were just realised, overnight. And there's no note on your pillow to say, by the way, there's been a miracle while you've been asleep. You just have to kind of figure it out during the day. And I'll ask, what's the very first thing that you notice about yourself? You're lying there in bed. You mightn't have even opened your eyes yet, but what's the very first thing that you've noticed that gives you a little clue that you've got what you wanted, that this miracle has happened? And those best hopes that you identified that you want to come out of therapy, they're there already in your life. And people say lots of different things, They'll talk about, maybe a knot in their stomach that isn't there, and maybe there's an ease in their stomach instead, or they'll notice that their mind, which is normally racing, is actually quite calm. Or they'll notice that they feel content and relaxed and happy. And there's all sorts of answers that people give. There's not a right answer that someone is supposed to give. It's a question that kind of digs into what that would be for you, specifically you, that would tell you that you'd got everything that you want. So the answers are always very individualised. And yet even so, despite the fact that they're very individualised and everyone comes up with lots of different ideas about what would tell them that they got what they want if the miracle happened overnight and they woke up that way, there's one answer that I notice keeps cropping up over and over and over and over again. And it's something that people would notice about themselves that tells them that things are back on track. And it might be something that you're interested as well in just kind of learning about, because it might give you a little kind of measurement about, about you getting back on track as well. And the thing that people say to me is, I would get up right away. Now, it sounds a funny, simple thing, that, doesn't it, to get up right away? But have a think about how powerful that is. That a person who might not feel any motivation at the moment, who might wake up and dread the day and stay in bed just trying to peel themselves out because they're not looking forward to the day at all. Think how powerful it is if they were to wake up and get up right away. So I thought I'd share that, because one of the great privileges that I get in my work is I get to hear the answers that people give me to some of the questions I ask. And people are very wise, people are very smart, and people always come into my therapy room with so many kind of resources and bits of wisdom and things that have helped them out. And so I'm in a really lucky position that I get to hear all these things. And so when I hear a pattern, when I hear people saying the same thing over and over and over again, I kind of note it in my mind that it's like an indicator of how we would know that things are going better for us. And so that idea about getting up right away might be something that you could use as well. What would it look like for you to get up right away? What would it mean to you if you noticed yourself getting up right away? What would you do with yourself if you did get up right away rather than staying in bed for whatever length of time that, we currently do. So it's an interesting answer that people give. It's quite a small thing, but so many people repeat it. And maybe it's something that is a useful thing to take note of. That when we get up in the morning, how quickly do we get out of bed? So if you've enjoyed this podcast, well, thanks for listening. I'm Alun Parry. And if you'd like to work with me, you can go to liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk and all the details are on there. You can work with me in person, or if you're far away from me or find it difficult getting out of the house, then you can work with me online as well through, video calls like Skype and that kind of thing. And if you enjoy this podcast, give it a rating on Apple Podcast if you'd like to, because that always helps, and feel free to share it with your friends. So again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.